He has 71 career wins. That's 8th all time. He's a giant man, a big man, and considered to be the best blocker on the beach. He had an injury-plagued 2012, and one of the reasons he and Todd Rogers, when they were playing together, did not win the medal. You see Rogers now in the twilight of his career at 39 years old, 6'2", 200, can still get it done, however, and he's trying to bring his big partner into the forefront of beach volleyball, Ryan Doherty, at 7'1½", the tallest player in the history of beach volleyball. So we're underway. Dalhausser and Rosenthal, and they start with a Rosenthal spike.
Sean Rosenthal, as I mentioned, so athletic. He plays great defense, and watch him as he hovers and plays behind Phil Dalhausser's block. They have extremely good chemistry.
Rosenthal, 6'4", 200, a high jumper. Ooh, and double contact called. That's a good one. Our first referee today, the man who's up on the stand, is Dave Carson. Dave Carson makes the call. Ryan McDowell is down. So a good look at Sean Rosenthal, second of 7 children, 6 boys and a girl in his family. Now bad pass, trouble. And it's pushed back by Dalhausser.
3-0.
This is the 3rd meeting ever between these two teams. Rosenthal and Dalhausser swept Doherty and Rogers in Stade 21-16, 21-15. That's in Switzerland. And then they also swept in Berlin 21-13, 23-21. So we'll see if Rogers and Doherty can hang in here. Rogers cut shot, nice up, Rosenthal. And he puts it away. So battle the cut shots there. Todd Rogers slicing and then Rosenthal dicing.
Yeah, Todd, one of the best in the business at that cut shot, but Rosenthal knows it. He gets it up and then he says right back at you. A little medicine of your own, back to Todd Rogers.
Now Rogers gets a high set and another block. So Dalhausser and Rosenthal come out as smoking hot, 5-0, and still no timeout called by Rogers and Doherty.
Yeah, big strategy is to go to Todd Rogers, seal that line up, and jump into the block late.
Rogers tapping down the line on his old partner.
It's crazy. Todd Rogers at 6'2". He's a little shorter than me. I'm just about 6'2.5", 6'3", and he must feel very small out there with a 7'1" partner, and of course his former partner across the net at 6'9", the thin beast, Phil Dalhausser.
Dalhausser straight up, trying to push it. Off the top, chance for a point. Doherty spins it into the corner. Rosenthal out of bounds. You see what kind of a force Ryan Doherty can be. They call him the Avatar, as we mentioned, 7'1½", and he can be a factor. Let's take a look at Dane's keys to the match today.
Well, the keys for Rosenthal and Dalhausser, number 1, are going to be that they're going to have to block really well. Of course, Phil is the best in the business doing that. Rosie's defense, he's going to hover in the backcourt, but also the big thing is to pressure Doherty, pressure the Avatar, because he does not have the experience. Right there, you see those little in-between plays where he blocks the ball. He has to be able to control that. He has to get the little things. Yeah, on the other side of the net, Todd and Ryan, they got to deal with the thin beast, of course, the best blocker in the world. But most importantly, if they make defensive plays, they have to convert. And Doherty has to mature quickly at the net. He's a little bit of a novice in terms of his maturity level in blocking. And at that height, you're going to have to get more blocks. And it's going to be a challenge going against Phil.
Over the top. That's a great matchup. So Rosenthal's up there. He can really jump. He told me the other day his vertical was once measured at 40 inches. I said, do you still think you can go 40? He goes pretty close. And on that particular play, he's up against Doherty, who's 7'1½", got a long reach. And he just socked that towards Mars and trying to get a touch there.
When I say he's one of the best athletes, that's what I mean. He jumps well, he's quick to respond, but he's so dynamic. I've seen him hit some balls that are amazing. And how about Phil? He's a point scoring machine from the back line, from the net. Sometimes if you're his partner, Todd used to tell me, it was just a joy to sit back and watch.
Dalhausser, one of the great servers in the world, in addition to being a great hitter and setter. He's got 3 skills that he really excels at. 8-3 is our score, first set. Rogers and Doherty, after a very slow start, trying to find their sand legs, so to speak. Ooh, and Rosenthal tees off. There's no doubt about it that when Rosenthal and Dalhausser are on, they are the best team in the world. The question is, how consistently can they play? Because they're a little bit up and down. At least they have been this year.
I completely agree. They're going to be in the show, at least in the semis or the finals, in just about every tournament they play, I would predict. But are they going to take care of business and put on streaks and runs of tournaments to make them one of the best? That will be the big question mark.
Where did Ryan Doherty come from? He was born in Toms River, New Jersey. Grew up as a baseball and basketball player, and had that's an ace there, nice play. A very successful career in the minor leagues. We'll have more of that later. Sean Rosenthal and Phil Dalhausser are up 9-5, and one of the reasons why, Rosie has some heat. He can serve, he can jump, he can rip, and it's a 4-point lead. More on CBS after this. Welcome back to Liberty Park, the AVP Salt Lake City Open. Well, as you might imagine, if you're an AVP beach volleyball player, you get to travel, you get to see the world. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes there are just those little issues to deal with.
Oh my gosh, I have so many airport pet peeves. The security line is probably up there. If you don't know that you can't take liquids through security by now, you're living under a rock.
The people that go through security that act like they don't have to take their shoes off like everybody else before them.
I hate running through the airport. I want to take my time. I want to go in the lounge, maybe have a drink or a little snack. So I would say being rushed.
The guy was like getting into my seat and hugging the little armrest in between. Like, it's my personal space. It's really crowded. Don't touch me.
When they will not get off the intercom and they just want to talk to you and talk to you and talk to you.
The plane lands and the second the seatbelt sign goes off, everyone just jumps up. And then they're just sitting in the aisle, just standing there, nowhere to go because they have to wait for the doors to open anyways.
So some of the action, I agree with Kerry Walsh, they keep talking and talking and talking on the intercom, and you're trying to send messages and all the stuff you're not supposed to do. It's really annoying.
Avatar with a big ace down the line, catching Sean Rosenthal. A little bit of sleep right there.
So getting back to Doherty, we're talking about his baseball upbringing. He was the tallest player in minor and major league baseball history. They called Randy Johnson, you might remember him, the former pitcher. They called him the big unit. Well, Ryan Doherty was known when he was in the minor leagues as the bigger unit.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I was speaking to him prior to the match. He said, you know what, he was my idol, he was my hero, and he actually met him, and that was a huge moment in his career. But he made it to about AA, he told me. Never really AAA or the big leagues, but can you imagine with that 7-1, the wingspan coming at you, sitting in the plate.
11-6, first set. Now Dalhausser going short. Oh, that was very close to a call. They didn't make it. Rogers make that Rosenthal with the dig, and down the line he goes. Spectacular play by Sean Rosenthal.
Talk about converting on defense. That was absolutely textbook what Sean Rosenthal was able to pull off right there. He hangs and he runs this down, a complete read, but then he has the wherewithal to get up, and then look how precise that shot is down the line. That is what you train for. That is perfect execution.
Rosenthal, a two-time USA Olympian, 5th twice with Jake Gibb. His latest 5th in London. And he told me that night when they lost to the Latvians in the quarterfinals was the most brutal loss he ever suffered. It was just very difficult to deal with. I said, how did you deal with that loss? And he said, a bunch of my friends took me to a place called the Red Line, a joint that had been in London since 1802. We had a couple of drinks to drown our sorrows.
That's one way to deal.
12-7. And teeing off is Phil Dalhausser.
It's very interesting. Phil Dalhausser is so deceptive, and he knows how to use his strengths and his attributes and hit that ball at its apex, which makes it very difficult to play defense against it.
Todd Rogers, former partner, and squeezing it under the armpits. And a little chuckle between Rogers and Dalhausser, the longtime partners and friends, and a couple of gold medalists. So a side change. Dalhausser just had a little baby boy, Sebastian.
And he's so happy about that, and if you can imagine, it's really mellowed him out, calmed him down, as if he wasn't mellow enough to start.
Now Ryan Doherty set to unravel here. Elongates over to Rosenthal. And Rosenthal in the closet. Or check that. Did that go down the avatar?
No, he got it. He got
I thought he did.
Yeah, he was so far over the net that Rosenthal had nowhere to go. I like the fact that Rosenthal decided to challenge him, but maybe not the right decision.
Got to challenge a little bit higher. Back to Rosie. Let's see how he plays this one. Good set. Jamming. Rogers has it. Avatar. Got it. Ryan Doherty. A reminder, AVP next, coming up Manhattan Beach, Friday, August 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, Phil, I think, set Rosie a little bit close to the net. He's going to have to keep that set a little bit off the net, or just do that, go over on 2. And that is the risk you take if you're Ryan Doherty, serving from the back line. If you don't really bust it and get to the net in time for that second contact, then they're going to throw it down before he gets set. Great execution by Phil Dalhausser, and even better setup by Sean Rosenthal.
Doherty still in the learning phase in volleyball. The other 3 players very accomplished.
Oh, wow.
As Dalhausser rips another ace.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen someone hit a jump serve with that type of trajectory on the beach. The ball never goes up. It's almost like he is spiking it flat and down over the net. And as a defender, you're not receiving serve, you're almost in a digging position playing defense.
Dalhausser at 6'9", and then you add on the reach, what probably takes it to 9 feet. There it is again. That one just wide. Dalhausser, who was actually born in Switzerland, came to the United States as a youngster, and now living in Southern California. Short serve. And it's rejected by Doherty. Rosenthal left it up there. The fans getting a big kick out of Doherty.
Yeah, that was basically a slam dunk. He just waited, timed it, knew that it was going to be a shot. And if you're Rosenthal, you're thinking, I cannot leave it up at the net. I have to shoot that deeper in the court.
Rogers and Doherty hanging around. They're trailing by just 3 now. And Rosenthal chops it off Doherty, out of bounds.
16-12.
A timeout called. First set, AVP Salt Lake City Open Men's Championship Final. Rosie and Dalhausser on top. Welcome back to beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. We're at Liberty Park. I'm Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton and Amanda Pflugrad. Our men's championship final. Some of the great athletes in America. Sean Rosenthal and Phil Dalhausser, Todd Rogers, and Ryan Doherty. So far, Dalhausser and Rosenthal, they got a fast start, Dane, 5-0, and they have never looked back. Another block. by Dalhausser. Now, Dalhausser, one of his advantages, he can really get over the net.
His technique is so strong. Usually a guy at 6'9" might not have the best technique, but he gets over, presses over the net. It's not about going up too high when you're blocked. It's about getting over on your opposition's side of the net and blocking it straight down.
Dalhausser swipes it back. And now Doherty waffled it out of bounds.
Yeah, those are the errors that I'm talking about, where he has to mature. You cannot give away points at this level, or it's going to cost you. If you don't have a kill opportunity, make sure you keep it in, but don't make that unforced error.
Had a chance there, just mishit it. Now 19-12. Doherty trouble, and Dalhausser hits it straight down. So Dalhausser and Rosenthal giving a lesson, a clinic. A team that has won more tournaments this year than any other. Overseas, Phil Dalhausser and Sean Rosenthal. First set point and double contact, so that's going to do it. Well, Rosenthal and Dalhausser, they take care of business, Dane Blanton. They go to work. They got out 5-0. They were ready to play, and they are on cruise control. Now the big question, can Rogers and Doherty come back? We'll see. Second set coming up. The AVP Salt Lake City Open here in Liberty Park. Phil Dalhausser controlling the action in that first set. He had 4 blocks. He was unstoppable. I guess he was the stopper. He was the stoppable, and his team, Rosenthal and Dalhausser, winning easily. Right now, let's go down to the sand. Amanda with the Thin Beast.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here with Phil, and Phil, you dominated the net in the first set. Talk to me a little bit. This is your first AVP event with partner Sean Rosenthal. What's working for you guys?
We're scoring a lot of points. Sean's making a lot of great plays behind me, and I'm getting a couple blocks here and there, and that's just a recipe for success.
All right, thank you. Chris, back to you.
All right, Phil Dalhausser, one of the great talents in the world. Of course, in 2008, when he played with Todd Rogers, it was such a magical mix, and they won. And then in 2012, it just didn't go right. Rogers got injured late, and Dalhausser was not 100% healthy. But this is a team with an eye on Rio, Dane, that really has a chance to win a medal and perhaps a gold medal.
Absolutely. That would be the ultimate goal for Rosenthal and Dalhausser. Of course, it is a few years away, but they made the change in this partnership in the back of their minds, thinking about 2016. And there's no question they are the #1 team, not only in the United States, but I would say in the world. They've won the most events internationally already this year, and they are in control here in this championship after putting on a clinic in set #1.
So we start the second set. Rosenthal with another beautiful dig, and he is blocked. It's on the line, so a nice block for Doherty.
That's what Doherty has to do, seal it up. Make sure that Rosie cannot challenge him, and if he does, he has to make him pay. That's a solid block by Ryan Doherty, getting up and over the net.
On the other hand, you have to like the aggressiveness of Rosenthal. Nice shot off speed. His challenge in the past has been transition. He digs a ball, and he hasn't had the right stuff to put it away. A little bit too much tapping and whapping going on, but I like the aggressive.
Yeah, he's such an athlete. He loves to be aggressive, and that goes with his maturity. As the years have gone on, he knows kind of when to bring out the soft shot and not challenge every time. And the more he gets better at that, the better off that team's going to be.
Great serve, Rogers. And he's into the net. Phil Dalhausser touched on it in his interview with Amanda. This is a point-scoring machine, this team, with Dalhausser at the net and Rosenthal behind. Their problem has come when they're receiving serve, siding out, passing, and setting. That's been why they've been on a bit of a roller coaster this year.
And I'm sure they will work it out. This is just the first event of 7 AVP events, so they're looking to absolutely dominate.
Off the net, tapping. Rosenthal, trouble. And he cut shots beautifully.
Oh,
wow, that's
so
as
nice.
good as you can do it.
Well, let's talk about that set, though, from Phil Dalhausser. He doesn't even really prefer to set underhand with his arms. There's Rosenthal reading to perfection. There's the spin with a nice top spin going to the net and an extremely sharp cut shot. Even if you're a defender in the cut shot area, you probably are not going to get that one.
Nobody gets that one. 3-1 our score. And Rogers with a sweet cut shot. Of course, Todd Rogers at 39. He will go down as one of the greats in American beach volleyball history. 78 career wins. He's 6th all time. He needs 8 to catch the great Brazilian Emmanuel. 65 of those wins, interestingly, with Phil Dalhausser.
Todd never ceases to amaze me. He has battled amongst the giants as this sport has changed and the athlete has gotten taller, but Todd Rogers has gotten better. And when you talk about someone who can side out, usually St. John Smith comes to mind, of course, Karch Garai, but he's one of the best side out players. That means when he receives serves, which he receives a lot of them, he actually gets that ball to the ground. Very deceptive player.
Rosenthal going cross court to Doherty. Blocked again by Dalhausser. Now Dalhausser, a wonderful blocker to play with. And let's listen to Sean Rosenthal talking about his big new partner.
Well, all the obvious, you know, the serving, the blocking, and setting, and hitting, all the obvious. But it's the little things that people might not see. How fast he is when I dig a ball to get it in position, and you know, bettering the ball on digs, and it's the little things that make Phil that much better than the rest.
Over the top. Phil turns around, sets. Another up. Doherty taps it down. The one thing I would disagree with Rosenthal, he says the little things. I think it's the big things. He's one of the great hitters in the world, one of the best blockers, if not the best, and one of the best setters. Those are big things.
But what he's talking about is everybody recognizes him for those big things, but they don't see the little things, how smooth he is as a 6'9" guy. He never really goofs a ball out of bounds. He never panics. He makes it look easy, and he's very smooth.
5-3, Dalhausser and Rosenthal after winning the first set. And left-handed, Rosenthal bops it out of bounds.
That would have been nice, and he'll try that every once in a while.
And you always wince a little bit when he does.
Yeah, it is more times than not, though, he gets that one down.
Now Rogers will serve. Going short again. Doug, nicely done. Todd Rogers elevates into the corner. Now Rogers, one of the great defenders of all time. His idol growing up was Karch Garai, and he's got a lot of Karch techniques defensively.
That was huge. Kind of laid his right arm out on a platter, and that was one of my keys of the game. For them to be successful, they have to convert on defense just like that.
And suddenly, it's tied 5-5. And once again, Avatar is there. 4 blocks now for Ryan Doherty.
He gets up and he gets over. He just needs to do that a little more consistent.
Once again, in case you missed it, Doherty, the tallest player in beach volleyball history at 7'1½". Rosenthal going to try it again. He does, right through the pop. And the little tap shot is beautiful. And Doherty and Rogers up 7-5. There's a little finesse for you, Dane Blanton.
I like that a lot, with a left hand, no less. A little control on the block, and then in the backcourt, Todd puts him up at the net. And he says, you know what, Rosie, if you have a left hand, let me show you mine.
2-point lead for Doherty and Rogers. Doherty played most of last year with Casey Jennings. And a lot of partner switching this season. And going on 2, maybe a little thing for Phil Dalhausser, making it look easy. It's not easy to go on 2 from the right side if you're a right-hander.
And the thing is that Phil Dalhausser, most people know that he played the left side with Todd Rogers. He has switched to the right side. He viewed that as a challenge, something he knew he could do, and he has transitioned so well. Not a lot of players have been able to play both sides of the net.
Great dig. Rogers spins it deep, and Rosenthal couldn't get there. He jumped as high as he could. He put his hand up, and he knew he was going to be just a bit short. So Rogers and Doherty playing great volleyball here in set number 2. They lead it 8-6. Welcome back to the AVP Salt Lake City Open. Well, there are a number of great teams on tour this season. John Hayden picked up a new player, a young up-and-comer named Tri Bourne. Check him out in our Rising Stars feature.
I made the switch to beach because I grew up in Hawaii and I'm used to being at the beach every day. I actually learned how to play volleyball on the beach. Just kind of makes me feel at home, and I had a long time playing indoors, so I think it's about that time for me. You know, I always kind of wondered how I would match up with these guys once I finally got to play them, and now I can kind of put that to the test. My expectations are high, I guess, because, you know, I grew up watching the AVP, and it's something I've always wanted to do, so it doesn't matter what the courts look like or the event looks like for me. I'm going to come out and play, and I'll enjoy myself.
Tri Bourne and his partner, John Hayden, this week, one of the 2 teams to beat Casey Patterson and Jake Gibb, the second-seeded team in the tournament. This kid is young, and he can bomb it on the left. He is a very, very good player, and a player to watch. Going down the line, Rogers is there. Tapping. Rosenthal on the run, goes with the left. Now, here comes Doherty, up high. Nobody up, and he blasts it. So Rogers and Doherty have kind of worked their way into this match a bit, Dane, after getting handled in that first set.
And I expect that from the professor, Todd Rogers. He's never going to go down without a fight. He knows both of the players on the other side of the net very well, especially Phil Dalhausser. So he's made a few adjustments and gotten things a little bit more consistent, and that's why they're in the second set.
Bad pass, pretty good save. Up to Rogers. Trying to go up 10-6. Rogers elevates, hit it out. Probably the only thing that Rogers still doesn't do quite as well as he used to. Doesn't get up quite as high as he once did. So make it 9-7. A good look at Mike Dodd, one of the all-time great silver medalists in '96, now the head coach for Rosenthal and Dalhausser. And of course, on the AVP Tour, you're allowed to have coaches in the box to help you. Internationally, you're not. Nice loop. Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, that deep corner.
Yeah, Mike Dodd is such a legend, such a class act, voted into the Volleyball Hall of Fame in 2012. And as I mentioned earlier, I went to Brazil with him and played in one of my first international events and just learned so much from him. So it is a huge advantage for Dalhausser and Rosenthal to have him in the corner.
Avatar there again. So the 5th block, and Rosenthal shaking his head now. He's found himself, he's working himself into the closet here.
It's a tough place to be when you're facing 7-1.5.
Now short serve. And Rosenthal tees off. I don't believe that there's a more athletic guy on tour than Sean Rosenthal. His big issue over the years has just been, I think, maturing. You know, he got an early start. He was out on the beach, didn't really play organized sports early, but as he matures, he seems to be getting better and better.
Yeah, and as you get better as a beach volleyball player, it's the mental side that gets better, and controlling your emotions, knowing what it takes to win, and that's what he's learned over time. But I would definitely not dispute the fact that he is one of the best athletes out here, and his response time is so quick in the backcourt, and the fact that he can jump just about 40+ inches and use that left hand at times. He's just got a lot of things going for him.
He's very speedy. Ace serve down the middle.
Ace serve, Ryan Doherty. There's a 13-8. We take a side change.
As we mentioned earlier, this is the first of 7 AVP beach volleyball events coming up this year. Manhattan, right around the corner. Cincinnati, Atlantic City, on to Florida, Santa Barbara, and a capper in Huntington Beach. A lot of money to be made. A joust at the net. The 2 big men scooping it over. Apparently Doherty touched it. And the tap is on the line.
I hope he touched that one, because if he didn't, He missed a huge opportunity. If he could have set Todd on that, they would have been in a much better position to win that point. But Doherty is playing well. He has changed his game from that first set, and now he's starting to be a more aggressive, more assertive, and more deliberate in what he wants to do.
And they've eliminated the errors. That's the big key. Rogers getting serves now. This time to Doherty. You know, it's really a delight to watch in this tournament, and especially in this match. You've got 4 players that can set beautifully with their hands. It feels like a lost art of yesteryear. You hear about all the guys setting every ball with their hands, but here are 4 guys that can do it, and do it pretty nicely. Dalhausser, and he lofted that one out. So another point for Rogers and Doherty, and suddenly they are lengthening it out. You get the feeling that Dalhausser and Rosenthal have just had a serious letdown in the second set. Better play by Rogers and Doherty for sure. But Phil and Rosie have not been at that high peak level they were in that first set.
Well, let's look at that. In the first set, they completely put on a clinic. 21-12, and took control. And I believe they came out in the second set a little bit complacent, like they rolled, you know, just walked through.
Rolled them.
And then you have Todd Rogers on the other side of the net saying, not so fast. We're going to turn this thing around, and we're going to start playing a little more consistent, and we're going to put up a fight. And that's what they're doing right now.
Little chop action, and over the top, the double block does not work. Dalhausser gets the kill. Dalhausser, 71 career wins, as we told you.
If I'm on the court right now and I'm Todd Rogers and Ryan Doherty, I know I've already done the damage out there, leading 15-11. Now I just need to take care of business on my side of the court. I don't need to score big points. I just need to take care of things and can't give them up like that right there. The short serve, getting them in a little bit of trouble.
That's a big problem. Ball set over the net, resulting in a point.
So many people get in a groove of serving the ball deep and not moving the opposition. That ball, a knuckleball, the bottom drops out. It's an errant pass. It gets them out of system, and then Big Phil Dalhausser's up there for the block.
Doherty got to that one. And Rosenthal hits it straight down. So Sean Rosenthal and Dalhausser get the point there. Big story here in the second set. Ryan Doherty at the net, controlling the action. At 7-1.5, he is a big daddy himself. Been a sensational 3 days at the beach. The scenery is spectacular. Call it the AVP Salt Lake City Open here in Liberty Park. I'm Chris Marlowe with Dane Blanton. Amanda aboard, working the sand today. First set going to Dalhausser and Rosenthal easy, but second set, Todd Rogers and Phil make it. Ryan Doherty have really played well, and they have the lead by 3.
They have played well, and I am impressed how they have rebounded from the first set, because they got run on 21-12, and they have come back on fire. And this one is
nice up. Dug again. Now Rogers doing his thing. The magician coming up with a spectacular dig.
Yeah, what I was saying, this is the making possibly of a classic, the way this thing is going. Look at that great dig by Todd Rogers, and then he gets back, gets set again, angle call by Avatar, and look at Todd, he gets it in the air, but Avatar cannot turn and get it up.
16-14 now. Rogers cut shot, Rosenthal is there. And he drops it into the corner. I'm not sure if Rogers can get the ball over Dalhausser to the line, because Rosenthal's really playing for the cross-court angles. Got to swing or do something line work.
It's difficult, and the chemistry is so strong between Rosenthal and Dalhausser. They know exactly how to cover the court and share the responsibilities.
Nice dig, no, can't get there.
Big hit. Cross court right there. Rosie there, but there's just too much heat on that ball for it to be controlled.
17-15. Rosenthal, 7 kills, 7 digs this set, but he's having trouble dealing with the avatar, and he pokes it out of bounds.
Big point right there. Going up now 18-15. That is a nice lead. That takes a little pressure off of Ryan Doherty at the net. Todd Rogers been in these positions many times, just 3 points away from pushing this one to a third set.
Dalhausser going on 2. Rogers spectacular up. Unfortunately for his team, it went right over the net to Dalhausser, who was sitting there combing his hair.
Yeah, but what I would like to see is Doherty contesting that. You got to go there. You cannot wait and react to what Phil's going to do. Go contest that ball up at the net, because there it is right there. He's got to step close and contest that ball, because once Phil has the upper hand, he just hits it down.
Rogers taking his time. Of course, we showed you Mike Dodd, the coach for Rosenthal and Dalhausser. Todd Rogers is the player coach for his team. And a good one.
Yeah, he taught Phil Dalhausser so much when they played together, and Phil owes him a lot to the progress of his game, because he just by leaps and bounds took off as a player after 2005, 2006, and has really never looked back.
1916. Doherty. Off speed, no, right into the middle of the net.
Yeah, what I don't like about that serve, it's a placement jump serve. He's not going for an ace there. He might as well just stand flat-footed and serve a float serve, because it was a placement serve. I'd like to see him be aggressive right now.
Didn't like it very much.
No.
Dane Bland. All right, Rogers on the attack. And there's the cut shot that goes out of bounds. So it looked like Rogers and Doherty were cruising to a second set win, and all of a sudden it is 19-18. Crowd comes alive. Dalhausser and Rosenthal trying to catch up. I almost think Rogers is better when he gets a set in the middle, so he can go right and go left and give him a little room there, and that one went right there.
Yeah, Todd Rogers doesn't like a set outside. He likes a set in the middle of the court because he has more angles.
First set point for Doherty and Rogers. Rosenthal cross court, lights it up, and it's off Rogers, out of bounds.
You know, Todd Rogers would like to have that one back. He was in the perfect position, but Rosenthal bringing the heat right there.
Yeah, Rosenthal knew Rogers was going to be there, and he just teed off. So second set point. Doherty and Rogers need a kill to stay alive and take it to a third set. Doherty. Got it. And so a breakthrough. Yeah, Doherty says, yeah, how about us? The first time that Doherty and Rogers have beaten Dalhausser and Rosenthal in a set this year. We're going to the third and final set. Stay with us. AVP on CBS. More coming. On a 95-degree day in beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. AVP Beach Volleyball coming to the Beehive State for the first time ever. Fans roasting, but still having a good time. We're in the third and final set of our men's championship final. Phil Dalhausser and Sean Rosenthal, Ryan Doherty, and Todd Rogers as Dalhausser puts the first one away.
I love the fact that this is going 3 sets right now. Doherty and Todd Rogers dodged, you know, that first set bullet where they came out a little flat. They corrected it. They're now here in a third set, which is always quick, and you have to get off to a good start. And the consistency for them is going to be a huge factor.
Nice up, Dalhausser at 6'9", scrambling through the sand. He puts up Nectar.
That's crazy. I don't know how many guys at that height can turn off the net, control their body, get 30 feet deep, and then make a play. is just a special player. You know, maybe the best player I've ever seen with so many attributes. No weaknesses.
Physically talented, that's for sure. So a 2-0 start. Rogers lost it down the line. He saw Rosenthal beeline for that cut shot. And I mean beeline.
I believe this is a great opportunity for Avatar, Ryan Doherty, learning the game, playing with the professor, Todd Rogers, now in a final of the first AVP event, and he has an opportunity, you know, to make history for himself, win his first AVP event, and I believe if they continue to pressure Dalhausser and Rosenthal, then that will kind of change the dynamic. If this gets down to 10 to 12 all, then I would definitely favor Rogers and Avatar.
The Avatar can block a few. That's a factor. And cross court, Rosenthal, now he hasn't had that shot in the past. He's not comfortable there, but showing that he's working on that, and that's how you expand your game. Kind of like Larry Bird in the offseason, the old NBA guy, you know, work on the left-hand hook, work on the three-pointer, you know, that kind of a thing. Keep improving your game. If he can put that shot down all the time, that will really help him in transition.
Yeah, the great players make improvements throughout their career and just continue to get better.
Off the top.
Oh, that's perfect.
Rosenthal right to Rogers. Avatar over the top and down.
Spectacular play right there. Knowing to go over off the top. Don't try to hit it straight down or it might get blocked, but hit it, hop the top of the block, and get that point.
Avatar, AKA Ryan Doherty. He does have 3 career wins, all with Casey Patterson. But looking for his first this year. Dalhausser down by his former partner. The set is up. Rogers is roofed. Doherty got that up there pretty good, didn't he?
That was an awesome set by Ryan Doherty, putting it way up on the net, but have Todd Rogers in the impact zone. Just relaxed, gets it up in the air. The set almost perfect, but big Phil Dalhausser takes it to his old partner.
4-3, Dalhausser and Rogers. Is there anything Rogers could have done? Swing way high, maybe tap it back to himself?
I think he could have kind of pushed it in, created a joust, and that was the only way he was going to win that one.
Another block by Phil Dalhausser. He has, while we're running out of room here, 7 blocks today.
And it's interesting, for a guy like Avatar, Ryan Doherty, he rarely faces guys of this height. So usually that shot's gonna go down against a normal blocker who's like 6'3" or 6'4", but not against Phil Dalhausser.
Dalhausser 6'9", Doherty 7'1½". It's been a battle of the big men today. And he pounds one down the middle. Ryan Doherty, a one-time minor league baseball pitcher, now working his way on the AVP tour. Well, he doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. He looks like a young Marlowe. He's just ripped. 5-4 our score. Back in the way day. Now Rogers to serve. Dalhausser. And this is something we haven't seen a whole lot of from Rogers. Make it from Rosenthal and Dalhausser. It's going on 2, and it looks like an effective weapon, especially on the short serve.
The nice thing is that Rosenthal puts up his pass, and it's almost an option. So Phil can get in there. He can either take a whack and hit it over the net on 2, or he can just use those nice soft hands and put up a set.
Now Dalhausser set to tee off here. His team up 6-4 in the 3rd and final set. Back over the net. Rogers at the net blocking. And it's goodbye for Dalhausser. Big Phil Dalhausser. Once again, 65 of his wins coming with Todd Rogers. And of course, making the switch to Sean Rosenthal in 2013. Rosenthal told me today earlier when I talked to him that the partnership was sealed on an international flight. He happened to be on the same flight as Dalhausser going to Europe. They were both playing with different partners. And Dalhausser asked him, well, what does your agent think you're going to do next year? And Rosie said, "Are you asking me to play? Because if you are, I will." And he said, "Yes." And that's how they signed up.
And it was on from there.
Game on. That ball out of bounds on the serve.
Serving 5.
Third and final set played to 15 in the match. Dalhausser, he hasn't gotten many serves. He's got 12 kills and the 7 blocks. Now Doherty, and trying to go cross court, missed it. Boy, he has so much talent. He's so much size. You and I both stood up next to him. He's just a massive man, and he's learning on the fly and trying to get it. He's 29 years old. He's not old, but he's not young. And so the more he can make refinements in his game, the better he is going to get. That set looked a little bit low, but Doherty dealing with it.
Yeah, that's a nice shot by him right there into the corner. But remember when Phil and Todd used to play together, and the knock against them was they were pretty mellow,
very methodical,
and they didn't really bring it. But now, as you see Doherty with the smooth shot to the cross court, now they're on separate teams, and Rosenthal's kind of the fiery one, and Phil's the mellow one. But with Todd Rogers and Avatar, no one really is bringing the fire. I'd like to see Avatar be a little bit more vivacious, really bring it, and put those emotions on the line. We saw it when he won, trying to get the crowd involved, but I'd like to see that throughout the match.
I think he's focusing on his volleyball, and it's hard to do too much extra.
I want him to celebrate his successes.
There you go. Good hit by Rosenthal just a moment ago. Now Rogers in tight, and the line shot is out of bounds. And Rogers can't believe it. That's been his shot for the last 15 years. Go up, hang, and sizzle the pits on the line.
11-6, game of 15.
He's so good at it, and so deceptive. And he doesn't give you any points. Whenever I used to face him, it was like you had to earn the points. They weren't going to give you anything. He doesn't make unforced errors.
Very rare
often.
hitting error there for Rogers. 11-6. Dalhausser and Rosenthal closing in. Doherty taps it, that's out of bounds. So Rogers and Doherty, after a bit of a streak, really struggling now. Body language not good at the moment.
No, the shoulders are slumping, they're looking down, things aren't going their way. They've put up a good fight until now, but this does not look like quite the same team we saw in that second set.
They broke through big in set number 2. But now, do they have one more run? Outserve, that could help. Always a chance in beach volleyball to come back. There have been some amazing comebacks in beach volleyball history. Rally scoring a little bit tougher. Doherty. Boy, he's got a very low toss for a big man.
I don't think he uses his full, he hit that ball at the apex. He uses his full reach. He needs to really extend, and so that he has that kind of that trajectory that Phil has when he hits the ball. It should be no different. Actually, should be a little bit higher. And he'll get it. You know, he's in the finals here right now, and he's going to be really happy with this finish. It's a big improvement.
Rosenthal and Dalhausser now just 2 points away from their first AVP victory. Together. Rosenthal flies it out of bounds. Once again, a reminder, you can see more beach volleyball. It's AVP Next Manhattan Beach Friday, August 23rd. You can watch that at 8 p.m. So you've got the tournament and AVP Next. You can see that all next week right here on the CBS Sports Network. Dalhausser over the top, chance, spinning, yes! Doherty. I think fans pull for him. They know he hasn't played volleyball for 15 years and that he's getting it together and learning on the fly and doing a good job of it.
I'd like to see his personality come out a little more, because I think you're right. The fans warm up to him immediately, and they're cheering for him. He's a likable guy.
And cross court goes Rosenthal. So Sean Rosenthal and Phil Dalhausser. They have a chance for championship point. Crowd standing here.
Championship point.
14-9 our score. for the championship. Rogers down the line. Nice shot.
Phil wanted to end it right there, and he would have liked a block against his former partner, Todd Rogers. But Todd doing what he does so well down the line.
Second championship point for Sean and Phil. Smacking it. Avatar can't get there, and that is going to do it. Sean Rosenthal and Phil Dalhausser. The 20th kill for Rosenthal, and they are the champions of the AVP Salt Lake City Open.
Love the way they played from start to finish this weekend. Very consistent. And there comes the champagne, the celebration. But they are, no question about it, the top team in the United States. Very fitting for them to win the first AVP event of this 2013 season.
Rosenthal and Dalhausser, they finish 5-0. They are undefeated. What a week it has been here in Salt Lake.
Well, it's been awesome, and you got to give a lot of credit to Ryan Doherty and Todd Rogers. We're going to see a lot of them. It is the twilight of his career, Todd Rogers, but Doherty is up and coming.
Hope you enjoyed it. Kessie Ross win the women's championship final, and Sean Rosenthal and Phil Dalhausser, they triumph.